Miami Hurricanes picked up a gigantic 56-9 victory over FAMU. Welcome.
It's the recap show. It's the recap show. Good morning, boys. So the obvious, we're scoopless in Seattle again.
We are.
So it's okay. We'll carry it.
We got generous.
Yeah,
we're all good.
I'm here, and I got audio, so we're good.
There you go.
How you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm doing good. Thanks, Deshaun. Speaking of carrying, again, hello, Cam Ward. He's the easy front runner storyline, national news. They're talking Heisman campaign 2024. What are we thinking, Toast?
20 for 26, 304, 3 touchdowns. Just once again, just the ease with which he runs everything. Like everything is just so calm. There isn't any, oh my God, there's only 4 seconds remaining in the play clock. There's just, everything is cool. He knows where everything, he's taken an exam row and he already knows the answers. Like he knows where the blitzes are coming from. He knows what this guy's going to, like he just has the experience and he knows where tell me he was saying he's playing chess. He's the Matrix. He's seeing 2 plays ahead. It's awesome.
I love the analogy of that. He already has the answers to the test because he sure looks like he does. Now, first touchdown of the game, one of the things that I appreciate, welcome back, tight end you. Elijah Arroyo gets right open. He has plenty of time. He's in the matrix. He realizes the pocket's clean. And that's the other thing I really applaud about Cam's game. He knows the pressure. He feels the pressure. He senses the pressure. He knows when to stay. He knows when to bail out. So far over the course of 2 weeks, when I look at his like escapability, he's not like panicking to get out. He knows when to do what. Impressive. 12 different receivers caught balls yesterday.
Yeah.
12. He spreads the ball around. It's not necessarily to one particular guy. He spreads it around. And it was nice to see that the tight ends led the charge and tight end U's back. Over 2 weeks, they started to feature it. Shannon Dawson, you were a man of your words. You said, yes, we're going to go ahead and get those tight ends involved, and you have. And it's made a difference, right? It's made a complete difference.
Absolutely has. You saw Riley Williams. Man, dude, bro, he has gotten big.
Yeah.
He is that boy's been hitting the weight room for the last couple of years, and it is showing. He had a nice big catch, as you said, Elijah. But yeah, we're starting to see those guys get involved again, which is great after last year because a lot of us were just scratching our heads like, what happened? But good. They're back.
Yeah, and Xavier Restrepo again led the charge, had 104 yards on 4 receptions. You got to like that, yards per catch average. Guy's doing his thing. So it is a pick your poison type scenario for the University of Miami. Going back on Cam, also had a touchdown on the ground, and that was a great play as well. It made something happen, knew exactly where the goal line was, reached out the ball. So not bad. 3 touchdowns, back-to-back games where he had 3 passing touchdowns, added a rushing touchdown, and his stat line it's flawless. I mean, it's essentially flawless. And you think of some of the drops he had. I know one was a pass interference. He had one to Sam. Xavier hit one in the chest. He said, my bad, even though it was a pass interference. It's a ball he usually comes down with. So even his misses were not really misses, right? And that's what you want to see. That's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, my only listen, a game like this, 56-9, they came out, and now first of all, let's give FAMU some credit. I believe what they were saying. These guys won the FCS championship last year, if I'm not mistaken. So a quality program. We know that. Props to them for rebounding after that whole Ed Reed debacle a couple of years ago. But they've obviously got a fire on all cylinders. Ro, my biggest issue here, and this is nitpicky because you win 56-9 as FAMU, didn't love the way the second quarter ended. You had a field goal and then you ended on downs. You come out after halftime and touchdown, so you get back on it, but wasn't thrilled the way the second half ended, especially with allowing them to have that 10-play, 87-yard drive or 67-yard drive to, get that field goal at the very end. But outside of that, and then maybe, but I'm not going to say anything because it was 30-9, maybe leaving some guys in there a little bit too long, but you're only up by 30 points. You can make the argument that, he wanted to keep those guys in there for the third quarter, and I'm cool with that.
For the main account at halftime, I put out and we'll play along right now. The over under for F bombs out of Mario's mouth I set it at 15 and a half.
Yeah,
I'm going to say safely the over, because I'm pretty sure he got on that ass, right? Because those guys came out a lot more spirited. Yep. They definitely stormed the shores of Bannockburg and won their independence. Braveheart reference there.
There you go.
But listen, I agree. That's second half. But then I thought about it again, Toast. He misfires on a ball, and he makes probably the play of the year, but it gets negated by a hold, right? You add that, and then there was this 1 3rd down where we let a drag get a little too loose. He goes for the first down. It was 3rd down backed up in our territory. We were about to get the ball. So it's like those 2 plays is what we were nitpicking over, because I'm like, man, what a difference of opinion we're going to have. I put it out there on the main account. I was like, what are you feeling after halftime? And everybody's like, sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. That was the word, right?
Right.
The proverbial word in the fan base after the first half ended was sloppy. And when you look back on it, you were 1 hold and 1 misplay. So I think, and that was one of those pressing moments in me where I was like, the expectations on this team are really high, right? Really high. Because in the past, year 1 of Mario, year 3 of Manny, like we take that win, we're not even talking about sloppy. It was just, that's par for the course.
But, but there's a different level now.
Exactly. And is that fair? Is that not fair?
It is.
It's like,
no, I think it's
flawlessness.
Listen, I think it's fair, because this is the level that Mario thinks that this should be at. Like, Mario didn't go in there and go over the over under of 15 F bombs as they're up 30-9. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't good enough. Against FAMU, it's not good enough. Like, there is a level of expectation that a top 10 team has to a fan when you're playing an FCS team, regardless of whether they're good or not. And FAMU is obviously a very good, one of the best FCS teams around, but that you should win by 60. That's the mental thing for a fan. So you're going to have some folks in the fan base that are annoyed that we only hit 56. You're going to have some folks in the fan base that are annoyed that you gave up 3 field goals in a 10-minute drive to end the second quarter. Like, and that's fine. That's fine. But now, I would say the bigger issue for me, forget that, it's FAMU, but there was definitely sloppiness, because, bro, we didn't see 8 penalties against Florida. Just some stupid penalties too, bro. Like your head's not fully in it. You know, a couple of, they're treating quarterbacks like China, but whatever. But yeah, so the penalties, there were some mental lapses there, bro. We didn't see week 1.
Hey, 2 penalties up in the swamp, and none of them were procedural. They were 2 pass interference calls that could have went either way. Miami, in terms of discipline, were flawless. 4 times the amount. You had 8 penalties for 58 yards. And again, it was like the false starts at home. I made the joke. I was like, why don't you import the swamp? We need all those hillbillies here, because they seem to operate better in that environment and not in their own home environment. So I don't think the head ball coach is going to be too happy over that, especially when you were applauded for how disciplined. That was one of our first takeaways that we spoke on, was just how disciplined they were at the swamp. You didn't see that disciplined nature, and that's something they're going to have to clean up, because you know what? Especially some of those PI penalties, you're not going to win a lot of games, close games, if that's kind of your mentality. They're trying to go to a couple of your guys, and you got to get rid of that mentality now. It's good that it reared its ugly head now in a game that you won comfortably, but in conference, because I think we're going to touch on it, you know, all of a sudden Cal's not so bad. Syracuse played pretty good. You know, there's a couple games on the horizon that you got to play a lot cleaner than you did against FAMU if we want to expect to win those games.
Well, no, listen, we got MAC attack, Ball State coming in this weekend. MAC teams are always going to, come in prepared. They're always going to give it everything they have. So yeah, you can't have 8 penalties or 9 penalties in that game and let them extend drives and keep them on the field like that. So plenty of, and that's a good thing, bro, because now Mario, as you said, at halftime, he probably let some expletives fly. And then when you look at the stat sheet with the penalties at the end of the game, there's a lot of stuff he can work on this week. Like, this wasn't one of those where everything was great and we got nothing to worry, everyone's feeling great about themselves after that victory. There's stuff he can pound on them this week about the, mental lapses and stuff like that. So that I think that's good. I want my coach to have some meat on the bone heading into another game, that he can attack some stuff.
And that's a great point. After this win, It was convincing on the scoreboard and in the stat sheet, but in order to have that razor's edge of a program that you want, you have a head coach who's never happy. He's never satisfied. That was the Nick Saban gene, right? That guy could won 7 national championships in a row, be up by 50. If there was one procedural penalty, the game was like forfeit. So that is what we need to aspire to. The fan base is probably going to be a little bit obnoxious because we're going to get in tune with that. We're like, oh, we're sloppy. We're sloppy. I'm like, yeah, we're about 2 plays away from being like completely dominant, but I hear you. But that's what we need to do. We're going to be thrusted into the top 10. We had a couple debilitating losses to 2 other top 10 teams. Way to go, Notre Dame. You guys are awesome. And Michigan, we knew you weren't that good. So next thing you know, those guys are coming out. We're coming in. And we got to play like a top 10 team. We got to play like a top 10 team, and the coach needs to maintain that razor's edge for us to do that.
No,
so I'm a fan.
Yeah, absolutely. The offensive line wasn't as quite as seamless as it was game 1. We had a couple of different folks in there. We had a new guy tackle. We had a couple of issues. Hopefully that gets. Listen, the offensive line yesterday would have been an issue against a better team, Ro, because that tackle spot was not a strong suit.
Yeah, you had a couple guys come in clean for FAMU. That's just what happened. That didn't happen a week ago. I mean, Cam Ward was relatively untouched. And anytime that guy gets touched, anytime that guy takes a shot, the fandom is going to take a collective deep breath because our season rides and dies on his shoulders. And another big takeaway for me was, man, the carnivorous drop, right?
Right.
From 1 to 2. I mean, you want to see Neo in the Matrix? Okay, that's Neo plugged into the Matrix. You could see what he did. And then you just get an NPC and you try to plug him in and make Neo moves. And that's exactly what I felt like when we get. And it's no knock. I mean, the guy's taking his first experience at the Division I level, but it wasn't even the FBS P5 level, P4. It wasn't even at that level. I just was like, oh my goodness, our season is really, really contingent upon Cam Ward's health. So can't give up unnecessary shots. Can't do that. Left tackle, wasn't as clean as our normal everyday left tackle. Hopefully the injury report gets announced soon. Maybe they just gave him the day off. Load management, LeBron James style. What are you going to do?
Right.
But we need to protect the guy, Toast, all day.
All day. Listen, he's the key to everything. It was nice seeing Poffenbarger get in there. Reese was in there for the majority of the fourth quarter. 6 of 7, pretty much mostly just wide receiver screens. He got hit a couple of times as well. But yeah, man, listen, it was a solid run. This was exactly what you were looking for. I would have liked a little bit more than a winning margin of what was that, 47 or whatever it was. I would have liked to have seen them hit 65, 70 points. If they had those 2 drives at the end of the first half that don't peter out, they do that. Scored on the touchdowns on the first 4 drives of the second half, so they did come out and looked a lot better. But yeah, man, I mean, it was what it was, bro. We got out of there relatively unscathed, and we move on to Ball State, and we continue the undefeated season.
Now we got to touch a little bit on somebody on the other side of the ball because, last year, if you're talking about, hey, the best guy on our team is Tyler, you would assume something else, right? But that's not how it worked out. No, we're talking about Tyler Barron. I mean, coming out of the box hot. He's that side of the ball's equivalency of Cam Ward. 3 sacks yesterday. He just looks dominant, right? He just looks absolutely dominant. And we still are not full horsed. No. We're not even, carrying the carriage. I mean, Ruben Bain, freshman ACC kind of a guy, all ACC kind of a guy, he's not even playing, right?
Yeah, so we'll have to see if he's even ready for Ball State. He may not be ready for Ball State as well.
Yeah, we could keep him ready for conference. That's going to be okay. But Tyler Barron has carried the load and then some. That guy is a special dude. That guy's going to play on Sundays. You could just see his body. He's a guy that stands out from a mile away, and that's the Mario Cristobal effect. Plenty of times I went to that stadium live and I was like, oh man, we're the smaller team. Those days are gone. We have the freak shows. We have the unicorns. I mean, it's fantasy land out there now. We don't have to be envious. We have the unicorns. We have all the exotic creatures that you need. Gorgons, whatever you want to call them, they're on. And Tyler Barron is like, is that dude. That dude is that dude, right? He's the Cam Ward on that side of the ball. Can't sing him enough praise.
Well, listen, and you touched on it. Chances are we're going to be a top 10 team. You saw Notre Dame go down to Northern Illinois. You saw Michigan just get absolutely walloped by Texas. So those are 2 top 10 teams that go down. I would like to think that with that performance, that when maybe we hit the 10th spot.
I think so. I think so. Those are two convincing wins for us, you know. So I don't necessarily see us having an issue getting down into the top 10, and we continue to win. I mean, listen, we just keep hitting the thresholds, right? You need to be one of the top 12 teams at the end of the year. ACC should be the goal. You win the ACC and you get that automatic entryship. So you have to keep your eyes on the prize. You cannot get off the gas. You cannot. Don't get out coached. Don't
No.
just put all your eggs in the basket. Know what kind of special season you have and continue to put your foot on the gas. You have no other option but that. Foot on gas, belt to ass to teams, right? As long as you put your foot on the gas, the belt is going to go to their ass. Just continue to do so.
Listen, and I tweeted out that one moment, looking ahead at the schedule, that road game at Cal, last game of the season at Syracuse at the Dome. Get the Pepto ready, man. Those are going to be pains in the ass. Cal went to Auburn, down 3 starting offensive linemen and a true sophomore quarterback, bro. And they went in there and they beat Auburn, and they look like a good team. And then Syracuse, listen, Kyle McCord is lighting it up there. If they're having a great season, the Carrier Dome will be a crazy environment the last game of the season. So those are going to be 2 tough-ass road games that we probably weren't. The Cal one we were kind of looking to after Roddy, kind of told us, watch out for Cal. I don't think any of us were overly concerned about Syracuse, but that could end up being a real bear of a game to finish the season. So we were wondering who was going to step up, bro, with FSU down and Clemson losing. These 2 games towards the end of the season may be major games, and also that Boston College game.
We need 4 more games on the horizon. ACC has been notoriously helter-skelter.
Yeah.
You have no idea. They are
Louisville look good.
Yeah, they are a bipolar date. You just don't know which one's showing up. So this could be a good Cal team. It could not be a good Cal team. This could be a great Syracuse team. We were Scoop's pick for the ACC was Georgia Tech. Call me crazy. Well, you are crazy because they lost. Okay. But that's so par for the course. If you've just paid attention to this ACC for the better part of 2 decades, you have your anomalies once in a while. Your Florida State team that was good last year, your Clemson run, stuff like that. But then Clemson gets blasted by Georgia Tech. Georgia, and they turn around and they look great yesterday against Appetizer State.
Yep.
You just never know in this conference. And that's the thing with the University of Miami. They have to, and it's almost a call to the coaching staff. It's a great coach conference, though. They have
NC State got rolled in Tennessee. Oof.
It's like they're all major league pitchers, and you're just at any point in time during the regular season, they have their A stuff. Everything's moving. Their 2-seam, their 4-seam, their cutter, their splinker, everything's working. And they're going to throw everything at you. They're going to be one step ahead. The University of Miami has to anticipate that these guys are going to come out here with great game plans. They're going to go ahead and target you, and they're going to go ahead and take you out. So it is what it is. And then MAC next week, you mentioned it, Toast. Not only is it the Super Bowl for a lot of them when they play FBS, they're on audition for the transfer portal, so they play a little bit more spirited, but the coaching too. Those coaches want to prove that, hey, they got chops too. Look at what I did against Miami. They're a top 10 team, and look at how close I made it, and look at my schemes, and look at how it worked at that level, because obviously they're trying to raise in the ranks as well too.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be a hot one, 3:30. So we'll deal with the pregame for that and everything on this week's episode. So yeah, listen, man, it was what it was. We roll up FAMU. Thank them for coming to town and enjoy the paycheck. Thank you for the W. It was good seeing a lot of the freshmen get in there, especially like NY Carr and all these kids late in the game. So that was awesome. Keep all of them happy. And I even saw Pancake in there late in the 4th quarter.
Let's go. Came in right tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice when you have 5 stars that are essentially, well, it could be nice.
Yeah.
we got to see how that goes, especially going into next year. You hope and assume that guy finally locks down his roster spot coming into the program in his 3rd year. But that's a luxury to have. That's a luxury to have. A lot of these young guys, 5 stars, top 300, top 50 guys, top 100 guys, we're not really necessarily counting on it, especially in the wide receiver position. JoJo, Nye, those are 2 dudes that, they got major screen love on by the FSU alumni. They're like, look at these 2 dudes. What I walked away more impressed was we're not really even counting on those guys this year. Our wide receiver room is stacked. We do have a go-to guy. We have other dangerous guys, and They're very efficient this year too. Very efficient wide receivers. So it's good. We have depth. We have depth.
It's interesting because you're kind of seeing a reshuffle. I mean, we're 2 games in now. I know he has a touchdown, but you're not seeing so much of a focus on X and Jacoby like you did last year with Sam Brown. Now is definitely getting a lot of looks from Cam, spreading it all around. The tight ends are back into it. So you don't have that 1 or 2 that you're being relied on, keeping the defense off balance a little bit. Now they're not sure where it's going to go. As you said, like 25 different players caught passes yesterday.
Yeah, like I said, 12 different receivers caught passes, including, and it's different groups, right? You had the tight ends again, Lofton, Riley, and Elijah. They're catching balls. All the wide receivers are catching balls, including the young bucks. You had Chris Johnson, touchdown, looked great coming out, passing touchdown, caught it from Cam Ward. Looked electric. So that's a running back. So exactly, you have to be able to spread it out the way you do, because let's be honest, okay, you're going to have to win that way. I don't necessarily like Xavier Restrepo is great. The position that he plays is great. He's like a chain extender, right? He's going to continuously be there. He's going to extend drives. That is the guy you want to extend drives, but you don't have that Tyreek Hill type, right? We're not really blowing tops off defenses right now. We haven't had that big play touchdown over that. Now, Xavier Restrepo got loose and open, so I stand a little corrected there. But for the most part, you're not seeing that, what you see from the Dolphins, when you have those with Waddle and stuff. We don't necessarily have that element right now. At least we're not calling up the shots that way. So you spread it around, you be methodical, you be efficient, you rely on Neo and the Matrix to just make everything work, and he has everything at his disposal. I think they said earlier on in the season, expect the ball to be spread around. And it's exactly what they're doing, and it's the most successful iteration, more so than last year, because when you completely neglected and negated, you allow the defense, Toast, you know how easy it is for us if hey, they don't even throw that guy.
Right.
Right. And you don't want to make it easy, what I'm trying to tell you. They have really good coaches in the ACC, but you made it easy for them last year. This year it's hard because you don't know where they're going to attack you from.
Janice, we got some audio, correct?
Oh no, I was just joking that I had all the normal. I had all the normal idiots. That's all I was gonna say. Yeah,
I don't really know what you're good at.
Well, you're good at a lot of stuff, so that's not fair. We do have the over-unders though.
Yes, over-unders. Let's go.
All right,
so bells.
I'm going to add one here that we didn't have on the list. What do you guys think was the official announced attendance for yesterday's game?
I know what it is, so I'm not going to answer.
Okay. So I will say, being watching on TV, it was better than I thought it would be for a FAMU game. Better than I've seen it be in the past for either a FAMU or Bethune game. But I'm going to put that number announced at 33.
Roman.
57,886.
Yep, 57,886 was the official announced attendance.
So the upper deck had some folks in it.
Yes.
I saw the lower bowl looked pretty solid, but I didn't really get any views of the top. So
it looked pretty
your
crowded.
boy was was saving the world last night, so I didn't have the opportunity to go to the home opener, but I did, text in, call people who were there. I'm like, how's the crowd? And they're like, it was great for a FAMU game. So
cool. Awesome.
They deserved it. They deserved it after, like I said, make it a celebration tour for what they did in the swamp. Come in there. It's a home opener. And let's continue rolling. They're going to have a pretty good team, so we need to show up for these guys.
Yeah. Well, we should have a good crowd for Ball State then.
57,886.
That's a big number.
That's a good number. That's a huge number for FAMU, bro.
For FAMU, it's huge.
That means we're going to clear 60 for Ball State. That's insane.
You could, yeah.
We could.
If it was at night, I would say that I would say we're going to be slightly under that number.
What time is Ball State?
3:30, bro. It's
3:30.
Oh, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot.
It'll be 195 degrees outside.
And that's the thing I always try to tell you. There's, I
mean,
all the little football leagues across, and all these parents who love football to have their kids play football. That's when their kids play football. So that's why we always disadvantage. We show up a little bit more notoriously at night.
All right, Cam. Before out of the game, you set the line at 2.5 quarters.
I did 7-minute mark of the third quarter.
Only one who hit it was Roman. Everybody else said under. Toast and Scoop said it, Rowe said over.
And I said it just
played all three.
I think they understand too that there's a potential Heisman candidacy, so you got to get that guy some love and you got to get him some stats. I mean, he found the stats.
Well, Rowe, if they had
that was the only reason why.
Yeah, on those last 2 drives of the first half, I don't think he comes back in. But they didn't. They puttered out, and so he needed to drop some F-bombs. and come out and
over 15 and a half.
Exactly. Yeah,
we all won that one. We all took the over.
Well, everyone went over.
Yeah.
Cam passing touchdowns 3.5.
Oh, so he had 3, so just under.
Everyone went under.
Yeah, well, because we thought he was only going to play a quarter and a half.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a good set line.
Yeah,
it was good. Miami passing touchdowns was 5.5.
Oh, yeah.
And Rowe and Scoop both went under. Toast went over.
We had 4 rushing touchdowns.
Right. Yeah, you had a lot of rushing. A lot of run. Miami rushing yards. The line was 275.5. Rowe and Scoop both went over. Toast went under. 224.
There we go. There we go.
Over 200 still good.
Yeah, that was fine. Good. It was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. 275 is a high line, though.
Well, it's FAMU, you know.
Yeah, I know, but that's
that was a high line.
3.5 sacks was the number on sacks. Everybody went over. Everybody won 5 sacks.
There you go.
Tight end receptions.
Oh.
You set the line at 6.5. Rowe went under. Scoop went under. Toast went over. 4.
4. Okay.
4. What's your total there?
All right.
Offensive 30+ yard plays.
Ooh.
You set the line at 4.5.
Uh-huh.
Everyone went over. You had 2.
All right.
And the last couple here. FAMU, more points or punts?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. They had more points.
Rose said punts. Toast said punts. It was points. 6 total punts.
They didn't
9
punt
total points.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
That was a good prop bet right there, though.
It was good.
It's hilarious.
The total for FAMU punts was 9.5. Everyone went under. Everyone went under. Yeah, and they only had 6 punts in the game. So there you go. It's your over-unders.
Oh, you know who
I got
else?
6. I did good. I was counting. I was like, bing, bing. I counted my dings. I got 6 dings.
If you weren't watching late in that game, I want to throw a little props out. It's always nice when you know you have the next guy on the roster. And props to young Abram Murray, who came in and just drilled a 38-yard field goal late in the 4th quarter. And it's like, oh, this is he's replacing Andy. Not a problem. Works for me. He looks pretty solid.
Yeah, look at you giving for the brand, giving the backup kicker some love. That a boy.
Man.
We're all
why the hell not?
We're friends to all here at the OBB.
Absolutely. Listen, and Frank and Villa got in again as the freshman center. So yeah, like listen, Mario's getting it done. And for those of you that didn't watch the Oregon game last night, that Oregon offensive line is not being coached by Coach Mirabal any longer. You're definitely seeing it. Like Dylan Gabriel was running for his life last night.
I think it's a nice barometer. If Oregon's taken a step back when they perceivably were supposed to be really good, and you're seeing some issues along the offensive line and some of and Miami's taking a step forward, you kind of see that transition tip of power, and you like it in Miami's favor. So I don't care about Oregon. So if they take a step back, it lends more credence to what I just told you. So I'm hoping they do. I don't care.
There you go.
I don't care. There
you go. All right.
And what about last thing, kind of to touch on too. So we kind of anticipated, I don't know, we'll talk about it on the next show, but Nebraska 28, Colorado 10.
Oh, and they were just getting it was 28-0 at halftime, I think.
Yeah, and Shedeur Sanders leaving with like 2 minutes left in the game, walking through the tunnel.
Yeah.
Getting nailed by Husker fans. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, it's still a great atmosphere up there, and they're going to let you know about it too. Hey, Tennessee, 51-10 over NC State. That's an impressive win, especially when NC State came in as the 24th team in the country. I don't think
they're fraudulent. NC State's fraudulent.
Well, they're either fraudulent or, they didn't
look good week 1.
Listen, they have the Polynesian Trevor Lawrence now at quarterback. That's what I call the guy. I mean, he's as surefire as you're gonna see at that position. I've been doing this for a little while. That guy's the goods. And hey, you know what? Al Golden did his job. He only gave up 16 points, but Notre Dame, you couldn't get Northern Illinois more than 14. 16-14 was that? That is nuts.
Dude, that head coach for Northern Illinois, I thought he was gonna have a heart attack when the clock hit all triple zeros. He's a big boy. Like he lost his breath. He was Jesus.
He started tearing up too. He started tearing up, and then the reporter had the gall to basically say, "Hey, where's this emotion coming from?" It's like Like, did you see what I just did?
I just came in and shut touchdown Jesus up.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. I'm Northern Illinois, bro. Look what the hell just happened.
Yeah, exactly. This
Jesus.
he's going to be on his deathbed crying about that game, and she's still going to. Where's this emotion coming from? At least
bro, all those kids. All those kids in Northern Illinois enjoyed that moment, bro. You had that for a lifetime. You will never. Oh, that was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Never
I would like
it.
to say that that's an App State. I mean, it's sure, but that's still not at the level as App State was.
No,
I mean, no, but good for you. Good.
So
for
I
you
will
guys.
say this, man. Clemson certainly looked like maybe, hey, don't put us in the ground just yet. They absolutely destroyed App State. They had 50 before. They had 50 in the second quarter. There was still like 8 minutes to go in the second quarter, and they're hitting the 50 spot. So Clemson, I know they didn't look great against Georgia, but they came out with a vengeance, and writing their obituary may have been a little bit early.
Yeah. And maybe Frank Ponce just has a hard time coaching against those guys.
There you go, right?
I'll tell you what, though, I was keeping an eye on that damn South Florida Alabama game for.
Oh my God,
it was
until the third quarter. Yeah,
bro,
they blew it out in the fourth, but
it was 14-13 with 13 minutes to go in that game, and I think it ended like 41.
It was like 16. It was like 16-14 or something going into the fourth quarter. I was like, oh my God, are they going to do it again?
It was a 1-point game. It was a 1-point game, and goalish, bro. Just give again. That's going to be a pain in the ass. Like, there's some road games here, Ro, that now we're realizing South Florida, Syracuse, and Cal are all going to be like a dental appointment. It's just not going to be fun.
And they're going to give you they have a puncher's chance, and they're going to give you their best
100%.
punch. They're going to give you their best
100%.
shot. They're not.
It's going to be their Super Bowl, basically.
They're not gonna roll over.
No.
So
you guys are worried about the schedule? Don't worry. There's going to be enough hurdles on the road that this team's going to have to overcome. But I think we'll have them ready for the playoff if they are to make that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what you thought certain teams were going to be good, maybe they weren't so good. Maybe Georgia Tech takes a step back. I mean, they lost last week. Florida State's obviously taken about 5 steps back. So the roster,
let me ask you this, Ro.
It never looks at the beginning of the season. You always make these guesses. Sometimes they're grandiose guesses, but in this case, you never know. All bets are off.
Let me ask you this, just to tweak the fan base a little bit. Right now, if you were going to go number one for the number one quarterback in the conference, is it Cam Ward or Kyle McCord? From a statistical standpoint.
Statistical, I mean, you gotta. I know what you're seeing on paper.
I know,
I'm gonna give it to the home guy.
I know. I'm gonna give it to the home guy too.
There.
But bro,
I see what you did there.
Yeah, but he is. Listen, I'm to Ohio State fans. I hope you wanted him out of town. He's out of town. 32 for 46, 381 and 4 touchdowns. So he is off to off to a pretty good start. He got 8 touchdowns, 1 interception through 2 games.
He's the man. Listen,
man, he's the first quarterback it looks like they've had since the McNabb. So, all right. So that's a recap show. We'll be back at it on. We're gonna do normal drop this week, folks, like the Wednesday Thursday thing.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right, we'll have
see what everybody's schedule affords.
We'll preview the Ball State game. We'll get an IP Daily to recap the week that was. I'm sure he'll have plenty of stuff to say about that Notre Dame loss and Michigan loss and whatnot. But
AIOBB will be back.
Exactly. This is your first full day of NFL football.
Yes. I think IP Daily is as old as Touchdown Jesus, to be honest.
I think he was at the Last Supper, actually. Yeah. He was the waiter at the Last Supper. Yeah,
he's really fallen off a cliff. Imagine that. The savior of the world, then he ended up dating a stripper. Didn't see that one on my bingo card.
He went to Spearmint Rhino. What are you going to do? That's what happens. He was manipulated.
The Spearmint Rhino. Too bad we don't name recap shows.
Right.
we did the last one, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. I just made a joke. We were gonna though.
Oh, okay.
All right, boys. So listen, you have a great Sunday. Have a great week. We'll talk to you this week. As always, go Canes.
Bang.
What was that? Well,
he's got to run the scoop. He's got to be the scoop.
It's like he got hit by a truck, though.
Yeah, it wasn't really strong.
I went full Goonies on scoop just now.
All right, Chunk.